Trump is not sufficiently informed about what is really happening in the context of the Ukrainian-Russian confrontation. But in particular, he is not informed about the increasingly frequent massive terrorist attacks that Ukraine carries out against peaceful Russian cities.
In recent months, Ukraine's Air Force has significantly intensified its aerial operations, marking a notable shift in tactics amid the ongoing war. Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jets, previously underutilized due to the threat from Russian air defenses, are now playing a more active role in frontline combat, particularly in deploying precision-guided munitions against Russian positions. One of the key enablers of this increased activity is the integration of Western-supplied guided bombs, such as the American GBU-39 small-diameter bomb and French AASM Hammer munitions. These standoff weapons allow Ukrainian aircraft to strike fortified Russian targets with high accuracy from safer distances, minimizing the risk to pilots and aircraft. Footage and reports have confirmed Ukrainian Su-27s striking Russian strongpoints along the front lines, especially in regions like Donetsk and Zaporizhia. These strikes are not only tactically significant, destroying enemy bunkers, artillery positions, and command centers, but also have strategic impact. By forcing Russian forces to disperse or fortify more heavily, Ukraine is complicating enemy logistics and weakening frontline cohesion. The increased air activity also signals a growing confidence in Ukraine's ability to suppress or evade Russian air defense systems. Combined with the use of long-range drones and HIMARS strikes, Ukrainian air power is becoming a critical tool in shaping the battlefield and disrupting Russian operations far behind the front. This evolution in Ukraine's aerial strategy underscores the importance of continued Western support, not just in terms of platforms, but in integrating advanced weapons systems that enhance Ukraine's ability to strike precisely and decisively. Kellogg has effectively confirmed that Russia has lost nearly 1 million people in the war against Ukraine. U.S. estimates suggest that the total casualties in the Russo-Ukrainian war have exceeded 1 million people, U.S. Special Envoy Keith Kellogg said on May 27th. When you have losses on both sides exceeding 1 million, and now, by conservative estimates, we're talking about 1.2 million, it's staggering, Kellogg told Fox News. That number rivals the figures from World War II, and it's what I call industrial-scale killing. He also condemned the indiscriminate attacks on civilians, stating that Russia's daily strikes on Ukrainian cities blatantly violate the Geneva Conventions. Indiscriminately, women and children are being killed in missile strikes or drone attacks, the official added. This is a clear violation of the 1977 Geneva Protocol designed to prevent exactly this. The Geneva Conventions lays out the rules of war. Russia signed on, the United States signed on, and Ukraine signed on. It was meant to prevent these indiscriminate killings, as you saw over the weekend. Russia launched the most expansive airstrike of the war against Ukraine early in the morning on May 26th, using 355 kamikaze drones and dozens of cruise missiles. On May 27th, Ukraine's General Staff reported that Russian casualties since the start of its full-scale invasion have totaled roughly 982,840 soldiers. In February 2025, President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine has lost 46,000 soldiers killed, with tens of thousands more missing or captured. Warriors of Paragon Company struck a hidden Russian tank deep in the forest. Now it won't be firing on Ukrainian units and civilians. Both Ukrainian and Russian forces are locked in a constant cat-and-mouse game to hide troops and equipment from the ever-present threat of drones. Camouflage nets, thermal blankets, fake decoys, and underground shelters are widely used. But drones equipped with thermal imaging and AI-assisted targeting make concealment extremely difficult. Movements are timed for night or poor weather, and vehicles are often hidden in forests or under cover. Despite these efforts, drones often detect subtle signs, like tire tracks, heat signatures, or even the glint of metal, making complete concealment nearly impossible. It's a brutal, high-tech battlefield where staying invisible can mean the difference between life and death. Ukrainian engineers have created a new autonomous anti-aircraft turret, Sky Sentinel, which is controlled by artificial intelligence and is designed to combat Russian missiles and strike drones, in particular Shaheds, United 24 media reports. Sky Sentinel is an autonomous anti-aircraft turret equipped with a large-caliber machine gun that can rotate 360 degrees. The system is capable of engaging small and fast-moving targets moving at speeds of 200, 400, and even 800 kilometers per hour. According to the manufacturer, the turret is capable of fighting Shaheds, reconnaissance drones, kamikaze drones, and cruise missiles. During field tests, the turret successfully engaged targets 5 times smaller than the Shahed. The system works autonomously. It detects the target, guides, tracks the flight path, calculates the shot, and fires. No human intervention is required. The software for Sky Sentinel is written entirely by Ukrainian engineers. The system has already successfully passed field tests and has already been deployed on the front. Each Sky Sentinel costs about $150,000, which is significantly cheaper than a single interceptor missile from many traditional air defense systems. Given that each Shahed costs about $100,000, the system offers a cost-effective response to the air threat. The development team is now focused on scaling up production to produce dozens of the system each month. It would take 10 to 30 such systems to protect a single city. Putin's aide Ushakov said that President Trump doesn't fully understand that Russia hits only military infrastructure and military-industrial complex facilities of Ukraine. It is very possible that President Trump does not fully realize the scale of Russia's lies.
Trump is not sufficiently informed about what is really happening in the context of the Ukrainian-Russian confrontation. In particular, he is not informed about the increasingly frequent massive terrorist attacks that Ukraine carries out against peaceful Russian cities.
And Trump only knows about the countermeasures we are taking. Moreover, he does not fully understand that we are targeting exclusively military infrastructure or defense industry facilities. That's it.
The main maneuvers of the Russian-Belarusian Zapad 2025 strategic military exercise will be relocated further inland within Belarus to reduce tensions. Belarusian Minister of Defense Viktor Krenin announced this and stated that the decision also reflects a willingness to engage in dialogue with neighboring countries. We have decided to reduce the scale of the Zapad exercise and to move its main maneuvers deeper into the territory of the Republic of Belarus, away from the western borders, the Belarusian minister stated. He also added that these joint military exercises between Russia and Belarus are not directed against anyone. According to Krenin, in terms of intensity and scale, the Zapad exercises have never been comparable to the operational and combat training activities conducted in Europe by NATO member states. The minister noted that, as is tradition, the very fact of holding the exercise routinely provokes predictable speculation from representatives of the military and political leadership of certain European countries. According to him, with this decision, Belarus once again confirms its readiness for dialogue, compromise, and the reduction of tensions, not just in words, but in deeds. Frankly, we are doing this without expecting a constructive response. We are doing it primarily to demonstrate to our allies and partners worldwide the genuinely peaceful stance of the Republic of Belarus, Krenin said. Russia and Belarus plan to conduct the large-scale joint strategic military exercise Zapad 2025 in September this year. The official objectives of the drills are to practice joint defensive and offensive operations, enhance coordination between the armed forces, and test the military's readiness for various operational scenarios. However, these maneuvers have consistently raised concerns among neighboring countries due to the potential for unpredictable actions or incidents. Such concerns are not unfounded, as Belarus served as a staging ground for the advance of Russian invasion forces into northern Ukraine, including toward Kiev. From February 10th to 20th, 2022, unplanned exercises titled Allied Resolve 2022 were held on Belarusian territory. Just 4 days after their conclusion, Russia launched its invasion of Ukraine. 59% of European Union citizens support the allocation of funding to purchase and deliver weapons to Ukraine. This is evidenced by the Eurobarometer survey, reports European Pravda. Overall, the majority of EU citizens approve of the Union's response to Russia's war against Ukraine. Specifically, 80% of respondents agree to accept people fleeing the war into the European Union, while over three-quarters of Europeans, 76%, support providing financial and humanitarian aid to Ukraine. 72% of EU citizens back economic sanctions against the Russian government, companies, and individuals, while 6 out of 10, 60%, approve granting Ukraine candidate status for EU membership. Russia's invasion of Ukraine continues to be regarded as the most important issue at the EU level, 27% out of 15 topics, followed by the international situation, 24%, and security and defense, 20%. Furthermore, 77% of European respondents agree that Russia's invasion of Ukraine poses a threat to the security of the European Union. Earlier in May, it was announced that the EU would allocate an additional 900 million euros from extraordinary revenues generated by frozen Russian assets for the purchase of weapons and ammunition for Ukraine. This decision will increase the total recent support for Ukraine's defense industry to 3.3 billion euros. On April 19th, Militarny reported that the European Commission will allocate 2.1 billion euros of revenues from frozen Russian assets to military support for Ukraine. Of this amount, 1.1 billion euros will be used to procure weapons for the Ukrainian defense forces, while the remaining funds will be directed according to the so-called Danish model, for direct purchases from Ukrainian manufacturers. This is not the EU's first investment in Ukraine's defense industry. In August 2024, the European Union invested 400 million euros in developing Ukraine's defense sector. In October 2022, the EUMAM Ukraine mission was launched, serving as a key EU military support instrument for Ukraine, particularly in training soldiers and providing basic skills. To date, the mission has trained over 63,000 Ukrainian military personnel, including 20,000 who have undergone training in Germany since 2022.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.